What was the last thing in your notes? Y'all do have notes. Y'all do write down notes, don't you? Nobody has anything.
Law of large numbers.
Okay, well, we're going to pull off of chapter 5 right now and go back to chapter 4 because my other classes are saying that the homework question is asking about residuals. And I'm like, really? Residuals? You don't even do residuals anymore because of technology. So I'm going to go back and show you residuals. And here we go. So let me clear this and clear that. I'm going to show you on the spreadsheet as well as the calculator. Okay. Hold on a second. I was working on tests this morning, so I'm a little bit behind on my computer. I was working on a trig test and a calculus test, so y'all have to excuse me. And there we go. Can anybody take a guess, or maybe you've had a probability course? Can anybody tell me what a residual is? Anybody? All right, well, I'm going to explain it to you. And then you'll see why in the world do we need it? Well, you really don't, but all right, there's your scatter plot. Everybody with me? And you take your technology and you find, let's go ahead and label these points because I need to label them because that has a lot to do with it. So this point right here, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so this point right here is 2 and 3. So we got 2 and 3. And then this point is 3 and 2. And this point is 4 and 4. And this point is 5 and 5. And this point is 6 and 6. And this point is 7 and 5. Okay? And I want to say that the X, we call this side the observed independent. Observed independent. And we call this side the observed dependent. Meaning that there's nothing made up about these points. These points are actual points. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? They're actual points that this could be years that you've worked at Michelin. This could be the number of RAs that you got. I don't know. It's actual data. And you need to understand that. This side right here is actual data. This is actual. What's in the real world. Now, when you draw your least, or the let's go with the TI or the Excel spreadsheet. Let's say that the TI or the Excel spreadsheet puts a least squares regression line right through there. is the least squared regression line, is it actual or is it hypothetical? That's a question I want somebody to answer. Is it actual or is it, excuse me, is it hypothetical?
Hypothetical.
It's hypothetical. So there's a difference between the point and this point. This is prediction. The points on the pink line are predictions. So the yellow that I'm fixing to draw on here the distance from the actual point, black, to the predicted point, yellow, predicted is yellow. The actual point, the actual distance is called the residuals. These lines right here are called the residuals. The distance, the vertical distance from observed to predicted. Now, I'm a teacher that do not, with the technology we have now, I don't really test you on the residuals. I don't think they're, if you were doing this by hand, then yes, I believe it would be worth doing. But since you are not doing it by hand, I really don't test you on the residuals. And I'm not going back and changing the homework. So I'm just going to show you how to find the residuals. Does everybody agree with me that each one of these is in the y direction? Yes or no? Does everybody agree with me? So you're going to be subtracting the y's. Everybody with me? These are negative. Why are these negative? Because they are what? In contrast with the line. Why are those negative?
Because they're under the line.
Because they are below the line. These residuals are positive. Now, I'm going to put these points in the spreadsheet. And we're going to work on this. And I'm going to show you how to find the residuals in the spreadsheet. And then I'll show you on the handy dandy calculator. So if you want to get your calculator or your handy dandy spreadsheet out, you're welcome to do either one. So here's the spreadsheet. Now I exaggerated that magenta line. I put it so there would be spaces between the points so you would see it. That line probably is not correct. That's why we're fixing to do it. Okay, I'm going to call these. Let's do this. Okay, I'm going to call this top line. Let me do everything a little bit bigger, and let me fill in the back with maybe a little bit lighter gray so it's not bad on the eyes. You're welcome. Y'all settle down, please. All right, so bold and underline. I'm going to call the first coordinate X. and it's observed independent. And then Y observed dependent. And we're just going to leave those two. I'm going to try to explain this the easiest way I know how. So, because there are some teachers that can lobotomize you on this stuff. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and 3, 2, 4, 5, 6, 5. And I'm going to, well, if I could work my mouse, there we go. Insert. I don't know why that thing keeps showing up. There, thank you. Insert. And there is the chart plot. And I'm going to go ahead and put my line of regression in. I'm going to put this down here so you can still see it. And let's go with our add trend line and display and display. Okay, there is our equation for our predicted values. There is our equation for the predicted values. So I'm going to go over here and do R is equal to 0.6, well, equals 0.6976 raised to the 0.5 value. And we got a pretty good, we got a 0.83 coefficient, correlation coefficient. So there is a good correlation here. Now, the distance between each one of these dots and the actual prediction dot is your residual. So how do you find, somebody tell me, how do you find the predicted Y? How do you, it's called Y hat. So you write that down. Y hat is equal to the predicted value, predicted Y. Somebody tell me how you find the predicted Y, which is called Y hat. How do you find any Y? I'm going to start making y'all turn y'all's mics off just so y'all talk to me. How do you find any Y? Nobody knows how to find Y on a graph. Okay. We'll just sit here until somebody says something. We'll do the Tide Pod, milk crate, stealing stuff out of bathrooms, snorting condoms, generational thing, and just sit here and stare at each other. How do you find Y when you're given an equation for a line? How do you find Y?
Solve for it.
How do you solve for it? Tell me how you solve for it. Plug in what?
X.
Thank you. I know you're not supposed to communicate, but I appreciate it. Equals 0.6571, 0.6571 times X plus 1, oh shoot, sorry, plus, hit the wrong button, 1.2095. Everybody understand what I just did? Read that. I just did what? I just plugged in 2 into this equation. And there are my predicted values. Those are the values for the yellow dots right here. Those are the values for those yellow dots right there. Does everybody understand that? So if you wanted to, let's see if I can do this without screwing it up. Let's go with yellow, translucent. So there's that dot. There's that dot. That dot. That dot. That dot. And that dot. That's what we just found. So I'm going to highlight this yellow. Somebody give me a thumbs up. They understand what I just did. Okay. So these correspond with the blue dots right here. These are the blue dots. And I'll color them blue. There's the blue dots. So somebody tell me how I find the distance between the yellow dot and the blue dot, which just moved. Sorry. Well, I don't know why it moved, but it moved. I'm sorry. Damn Russians. Now let me try it. Okay, well, it moved, and I'm sorry. So, does anybody know how to find the distance between the yellow dot and the blue dot? Somebody tell me. Have any of you ever been in a relationship with somebody that would not communicate with you? Anybody? Yes or no? It's a simple question. All you got to do is nod your head or shake your head no. Okay, Miss Ferguson, what kind of relationship do you have when you have somebody that doesn't communicate?
Not good.
Not good. Who else? Who else has one? Do you know how aggravating it is to have a class that won't communicate? Especially when I haven't done anything to you. Was that last test, wasn't it pretty fair? Can I make them unfair? Yes, I can. You know why I would make them unfair? Because I don't like the class because they don't communicate. Does everybody read what I'm putting on paper here? Let's communicate. Now, I'm going to ask you again. How do I find the difference in the vertical height or the vertical distance between the yellow dot and the blue dot? It's a real simple operation.
Subtract them.
Subtract them. Thank you. Now, was that very difficult? And that is called the residual. And I'm going to put y minus y hat. Actually, y hat has a, I'll show you what y hat, and some of you may know this. Y hat looks like that. It's got a caret over it. Caret. That's what y hat is. So y minus y hat. And I want you to fill that out on in your notes, because I want you to see how you get the residuals. Please make sure you got these 4 columns and you understand what you just found. Because I'm going to redo I'm going to slide this over and I'm going to redo my points. Let me just erase them and redo them.
You have a work email.
And I'm going to put my yellow points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. How many negative dots do we have? We have 2 negative dots. How many negatives do we have? 2 negatives. That's how you check to make sure you're doing it correctly. And I'm going to draw a line. And this line is going to be, if I can draw it, because drawing with a mouse is very difficult. And we're going to use magenta. And I'm going to try to draw it real thin. These lines right here are magenta. And they're not straight, so don't laugh at them. And these lines represent your residuals. So I will highlight these magenta. Now, I don't have a magenta, so I need to make one. That looks like magenta. That sucks. Try that again. Well, for some reason, it's not working. The color is not doing what I want it to do. So I don't know what's up with the color. So magenta, pink, whatever. All right, so there's your residuals. Now, they're going to ask you to do 2 things to the residuals. They're going to ask you to square it and to sum it up. So I'm going to put residual squared, and then we're going to sum it up. So equals this number raised to the 2nd power, and copy that down and add it up down here. And those are 2 things that they're going to ask you. They're going to ask you to square the residuals. It's called the residual squared. And there is the summation of the residual squared. Now, I'm not going to ask you for that on the test, but they're going to ask you for it on the homework. And I should, if I'd have known they were in there, I would have took them out. But I can't now because y'all started the homework. This is supposed to be a measure on how well you're, but we're not going into that. So does everybody understand? Does anybody have a question about how to find the residuals? Now the good thing is your calculator, and I know Excel can do it. I just didn't go through and dig out how I could do it by hand, so that's why I did it on here. This is showing you by hand. You could actually go and find and select, find residuals, and it might show you. Okay, it's not going to. Okay, I thought that was the help. Where's the help? And type in residuals, and it tells you nothing. So I know I can go to data and I can hit data analysis. I can do that. Let me try that and see if I can get that to work. But you have to add data analysis, and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, data analysis, and you want to do regression, and your Y input is right here. Sorry, your Y is right there. Your X is right here. And labels. And down here, you can hit residuals, residual plot. And there's the residual plot and your residuals. And we didn't write them down. Maybe y'all did. Is down here. And now I can't find my. There we go. Let's see, what was it? 0.2, let's see, 0.47, 1.18. Well, that's not what theirs got. They got all kinds of stuff. I don't know if I got the right answer or not. We'll do it on the calculator and see. I'm not very familiar with this, so that's why I'm not too keen on showing you. All right, so let's go to the calculator. And I'll show you how to do it on the calculator. So stat, edit, and let me clear all this. Now I need you to pay very close attention. I know some of y'all think y'all know how to do it, guys, but you might not. And clear. All right, so let's type in our numbers: 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then go over here and type in 3, 2, 4, 5, 6, 5. Now, right, the first thing you need in your graphing calculator, when you're doing a residual, the first thing you need is your trend line. So you're going to have to go through and calculate stat, calculate linear regression. You have to do that first so your calculator can actually calculate the residuals. So hit that and write down L1, which is second one, and L2, and hit calculate. So in this case, we've got Y is equal to 0.6571 X plus 1.2095, and that is our line. And R is 0.835. Let's check. And 0.6571X plus 1.2095. And what was our R? We had R somewhere. 0.8352. And I think that's what we got with There we go. Oops. There we go. And let's look back, 0.8352. So now, after you have found linear regression, the calculator will have your residuals. Now watch how I do this. Go to second, stat. I'm sorry. Yeah, there they are right there. But if you put them, if you just do them right now, you're not going to be able to see them because they're going to be all over your screen. So what you do is you go back to stat, edit, and you go highlight number 3, and you type second list, which is stat, and now you put residual and hit enter, and there they are. So everybody try that on your calculator. How many of you have a calculator? Raise your hand right quick so I can see. Okay, so some of you have a calculator. Go ahead and try it on your calculator. You want to put the residuals in L3. Now I'm going to square L3. So I'm going to go to L4, and I'm going to say, go down here, and I'm going to say second L3 raised to the second power. Caret symbol, second power, enter. And that should be what we got on the Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to check it. Let's see, where's our residual squared? Right here, 0.22, 1.39, 0.02, 0.25. That 2550 is rounded up a little bit. 71893, 6948. They're a little bit off because the calculator doesn't round as much as the Excel spreadsheet. So they're a little bit different. Now, how do I add L4 up without typing in all those numbers? Well, you go to Stat, Calculate, First Variable Statistic, and do L4. Second, 4. And hit Calculate. And the summation of X right here is 3.276. 3.276. And you go to your Excel spreadsheet, 3.276. We're going to do another one. I'm going to let y'all do this one and see how much you know and what you don't know. Okay? Anybody got any questions? All right, so let's do another one. And this time, we're going to use the same numbers. Not the same exact, but we're going to use 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And this time we're going to do 5, 8, 9, 10, 8, 7. All right, I want you to use whichever technology you want to use, and I want you to do everything you can that we just did. So get to it. I'm going to give you 4 minutes. Give you 4 minutes, and then whoever can't do it, we're going to make fun of you. 4 minutes. Yeah, Miss Jarrett, you can go if you hadn't already gone. But Miss Jarrett was here, correct? And how many? So Miss Jarrett made 13. Did anybody else leave beside Miss Jarrett? Nobody's gonna say anything? Okay. All I need is a yes or no, but that's okay. Just somebody will be marked absent and they wasn't absent, so. I'll ask again, was Miss Jarrett the only one that left?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Hamby, you ain't stolen any toilet paper racks or anything like that, have you? He's not, he's ignoring me. Gosh, some of y'all are already finished? Wow. Y'all are doing good if y'all finished in like 2 minutes. Or y'all just aren't doing it, one of the two.
Nah, not me. I'm barely at school.
I didn't understand a word you said. What was that?
I haven't stolen anything.
Well, it must have been funny because Miss Timms can't say anything, but we didn't hear you. Miss Timms, what did he say?
He said it like a while ago, but it like glitched. I don't know what happened, but
I know his computer, I think, is kind of freezing up on him.
yeah.
Yours is not doing it. Well, what did he say? So he responded to my bathroom thing.
He said like he's barely at school. He hadn't stopped anything.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Timms.
Welcome.
Thank you. Excuse me. I appreciate him responding, even though it was by his computer. It was like 15 minutes later. All right, 19 seconds left. Let's see what it looks like. I'm going to do everything on the calculator and the spreadsheet. I'm going to do both for you. And on the spreadsheet, it won't be any problem. All I got to do is punch in new numbers. So here we go. I'm going to type in 5, 8, 9, 10, 8, and 7. Now you may have to redo the regression, so we'll redo that. Let's take that out. And let's redo the line. So we're going to add trend line. There it is. Display and display. And there is our new formula. You got to type that into the spreadsheet. So I'm going to change this to 0.3143. 3143. And this to 6.419. It looks a little bit high. I better check everything and make sure it's done right. 3143, let me copy that down. There, that looks a little bit better. And I'm going to erase those dots. We're not going to do the dots. Okay. So I got 13.104. That's my sum of my residuals. That's what it's called. You might want to write that down. Sum of your residuals squared. Sum of your residuals squared. Or they might say sum of residual squared. Or they might say residual squared. Something like that. On the homework, we'll look at it in just a second. And let's go with the TI to check our work. So I'm going to go to Stat, Edit. I'm going to clear L4. And the reason I'm clearing it is to show y'all how to do it again, just in case you wasn't paying attention a while ago, or you didn't write it down fast enough. So 5, 8, 9, 10, 8, and 7. And now I'm going to calculate the residuals. Well, before I do that, I have to actually calculate the linear regression. Stat, calculate linear regression, and L1, second 1, and go down to calculate. And there, and let's check with our, let's see, y is equal to 0.3143x plus 6.42. And I think that's what we got with the Excel spreadsheet. 3143 plus 6.419 or 6.42. So all we got to do now is just make sure the TI does the residuals correctly. So let's go to Stat, Edit, go to L3, and put in second, Stat, residual, and enter. There's your residuals. And now we're going to square them. So go to L4 and type in second, L3, raised to the second power. And to add those up, you go to Stat, calculate, first variable statistic, shift 4, and calculate and look for the summation. I think we said 13 point something. There it is, 13.1047. 13.1047. All right, who has a question about residuals? Did any of you run into the homework about residuals? Anybody? Okay, Mr. Amby, what did you say when you saw it? Did you know how to do it? Do you know how to do it now?
I know how to do it now, but whenever I first saw it, I just shut my laptop.
All right. Well, let's go do one. Somebody sent one in yesterday from the other class, from my 8 o'clock face-to-face. Let me go ahead and go to it. Excuse me. And 120. And I think this one will be good. 4.117. I think this, no, 4.2. 4.27/3. Now, they're going to ask you to do several things. So let's go ahead and put this in the Excel spreadsheet. And there's your points. Go ahead and put these in your calculator. Don't do anything yet, because they're going to ask you to do something before you do it. So go ahead and just put them in your. They're going to ask you to find the slope between 2 points first. So that's A. And if you want to do a scatter plot, I think they asked you for the scatter plot. So we'll do the scatter plot, because they think that's what they ask you for in A. I'm not sure. Scatter plot, and there's a scatter plot. Looks like you got one below the line. All these look like they're pretty much on line with one, the third point below the line. So I'm going to move this over here for right now. Okay, so let's see what they asked first. The first thing they ask, find the equation. See, they give you 2 points, 2, 5, and 720. So I'm going to go to my handy dandy whiteboard. 2, 5, and 720. So you got to do this by hand. 2, 5. Now you could do it on your calculator, but I'm not going to do it on the calculator. And 720, because I already got something in there. All right, so slope is equal to delta y over delta x, which is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1, which is equal to parenthesis minus parenthesis over parenthesis minus parenthesis. We live in America, so we read from left to right, unless you're from Middle East. Masalama, Allah Akbar. And that is x of 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. So we're going to put 20 here, and 5 here, and 7 here, and 2 here. That gives us 15 over 5, which is 3. So m is equal to 3, and I'm going to pick 2 and 5 for my x of 1, y sub 1. You can pick either, but I'm going to pick the smaller numbers to keep it simple. Y minus 5 is equal to 3 times x minus 2. And that's y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times x minus x sub 1. Y minus 5 is equal to 3x minus 6. And add the 5, take it across the river, whichever one you want to say. And that's y is equal to 3x minus 1. Now, in the homework's eyes, you just found a line of best fit with 2 points, because they're going to ask you for the residuals of this right here. Does everybody understand what I just said? Okay? They asked you to find the equation for these 2 points, because they're going to ask you to do a residual. So that means you're going to have to type in right here, where's my points? You're going to have to go back to the Excel spreadsheet, and you're going to have to make up a new set of points for y hat, and I'm going to put y hat by hand. Okay? Y hat by hand. So this is B. So you got to do the points equals parentheses. What is it? 3 times x plus or minus what? 1? Everybody got that? And put those points in. Now, if you notice, it didn't change a lot, but it changed. So now we got to do what? What do you got to do after you find the predicted y's? What do you got to do? You got to find the distance between the predicted and the observed. Remember, this is observed. So what do we got to do? Y minus what? Y hat, Hubert. That's right, class. Equals Y minus Y hat. They're just trying to get you to see a point. And what is the summation of Y minus Y hat? -1. Negative. Everybody understand what I just did? This is your residuals right here. And they want to square it. Somebody tell me what -1 squared is.
One.
-1 squared is 1. -1 equals -1 squared
You have a work email.
is 1. So this is your answer to what they're fixing to ask you. Okay, this is by hand. That's 2 points. So let's go and see what they asked for. Where is my question? Did they put it in here or put it in here? There it is. So 3x minus 1, we got that. No, we didn't graph it. So let's graph 3x minus 1. Let's see. I don't know how to do that on the Excel spreadsheet without doing another. I would have to actually put in 3x minus 1. 3x minus 1 would give us 5 and 5. I'm sorry, 2 and 5, 3 and 8. That's close. The only difference is that 4 and 10, isn't it? Yeah. Instead of 4 and 10, it would be 4 and 11, which would put this up a little bit. So we need to look for the graph with all of them what? In line. So let's find the graph with all of them in line. I believe it's going to be D as in Delta. Oh, it's A. Okay, I'm sorry. There it is. And you'd have to punch that in your calculator. And I'll just do it. Let me do it right quick so you'll see. Okay, so here, let's go to Stat, Edit, and I'm going to go through and take out L4, clear, and I'm going to take out L4 because it may look like it's a spreadsheet, but it doesn't act as a spreadsheet. I don't know if it changes when you type in new points. I haven't fooled with the calculator that much. So I'm just telling you, I don't know. You can try it and see, but I'm not going to try it right now. Clear there. All right, so our points are points that we were given 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. And our other points are 5, 8, 10, 17, 20. 5, 8, 10, 17, 20. 5, 8, 10, 17, 20. And now I'm going to go to Stat, and you can actually do a stat plot, second stat plot, and it automatically reads L1 and L2. So all you got to do is hit graph. And I have something in there, which is a pain. Hold on. Clear. Graph, zoom, 0 for stat, or 9. And it didn't do it. Why didn't it do it? Second stat plot on. Oh, I didn't hit on. I'm sorry. Graph. There we go. Zoom. 9. There's your points, and you see that one is down just a little bit. And they want you to graph with the new point. So I'm going to go back in and change this one, stat, edit. I'm going to change this one to 11. And now I'm going to hit graph. And you can see it puts them basically in a straight line. You can see it's down just a little bit. If I was to graph y is equal to, what did we come up with? 3x minus 1? 3x minus 1. Oh, man, I think it's time for me to just quit. 3x. Don't use the... don't use your, well, you don't have one of these, so you got to use the keyboard here. There we go. Graph. There it is. You see it's a pretty much straight line. I don't know why they've got, let me go back and change that point. Stat, edit, and I'm going to change that back to a 10. There we go. And graph there. You see that that point down there is a little bit low. So they say it's A. I'm just going to agree with them. I think the points are different. I think you have to actually count the points. This is 2, let's see, 1, 2, 3. This is 2 and 2. And we don't start with 2 and 2, do we? We start with 2 and what? 5. So that one's not even correct. This one, that's on the line of 0, so that's not right. This one is, that's 20, so that means 2, 4, 6. That's 5 and 2, so that's not right. So it is A. Now, here's where they ask you, there's the line, 3x plus -1. And then there's the line right there, 1 being below. And then by hand, determine the least squares regression line. Okay, now they want you to do the actual regression line by the computer. So now you go and you go here and you go stat, calculate, and now you do linear regression. And L1 and calculate. Now this is the line of, this is the prediction line, not using 2 points, but using all 5 points. Y is equal to 3.0233x minus 1.3023. That is your line of regression. Now we got to go through and do the residual from that. So you go to your handy dandy calculator and you type in L3, so second or stat, calculate or edit, and go to L3 and type in second stat and go down to residuals and enter. And then we're going to multiply those by themselves. So second stat, L3 raised to the second power. And then you're going to add all those up. And that's going to be stat, calculate, first variable test, stats, and second 4, and calculate, and the sum of the residual squared, sum of residual squared is equal to, what is that? 0.7907. 0.7907. So now we go back to the question. And we type in, says round to 3 decimal places. So that's going to be 3.023 x plus a negative 1.302 and graph it. And once we graph that one, let's go graph that one now. Y is equal to 3.023 x minus 1.3023 and graph. And you see it's a little bit closer to that point that's so below. Remember a while ago, it was just lining up those 4 points, and it was, this one was way lower than, now it's closer to the line. And they're going to ask you something about that. So which one is it? That one's above the line. That one could be it. That one's above the line. That one's all of them. So it's got to be B. And here's the question that gets you. Compute the sum of the residuals in part B. What was the sum of the residuals in part B? Let's go back to the spreadsheet. What was the sum of the residual squared of part B? 1. And what was the sum of the residual squares in the last part? What do we get? 0.791. And that's how you do that problem. And the dot that was below all 4 dots is closer. The line in part B passes through the most points. The line in part D minimizes the sum of squared residuals. Why did it do that? Because when you graphed it, the first line went through these 3 points, but this point was way off. This time, the line went close to all the points, and this is not far off of the line. So it actually made the fit better. So what they're trying to tell you is the more points you include in the regression, the less error you're going to have. Now, Mr. Hamby, you tried this problem. Do you feel better with it now? Did he leave?
Yeah, he went to the bathroom.
Well, Miss Bowen, you said you tried this problem, correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you feel better now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, that's residuals. I don't really like the questions because I don't think they help you. I mean, that's just me, but they will be on the homework, but not the test. All right. So the only thing I want to finish with, what did you say we finished with last time? Sample space? Did we get to sample spaces? Okay, I'm waiting for somebody to say yes or no. Or did we just get to large number rules?
We only got the large number rules.
Okay. And I explained to you that that was the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. Correct? Did y'all learn? Did I say that? Yes or no? Give me a thumbs
Yes.
up for yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. What is a sample space? Well, a sample space, and I just want to get through 5.1 with you so you can work on all three homeworks this weekend. All right. Sample space. What is a sample space? A sample space is more of a group where individual, we've been talking about individuals like what is the probability of picking a king out of a deck of cards? What is the probability of rolling a 6 on a die? Those are individuals. But a sample space is a group. Some simple sample spaces are you flip 2 coins. Heads, heads. Heads, tails. Tails, heads. Tails, tails. You have 2 children. Boy, boy. Boy, girl. Girl, boy. Girl, girl. These are all binary sample spaces. In other words, there's 2 outcomes. The probability is 0.5 of a single outcome. What is the probability of having a girl? 0.5. What is the probability of flipping a coin and getting tails? 0.5. So when you have binary sample spaces, the outcome of each individual is 0.5. What is the probability of having a girl and a boy? Well, that would be 2 out of 4. So the probability of having a girl and a boy is equal to 2 out of 4. 2 out of the sample space of 4. What is the probability of having tails and tails? Well, that'd be 1 out of 4. 1 out of the sample space of 4. 2 out of the sample space of 4. Now, I want you to make sure you know these 2. So what I would suggest, this is what I suggest students do, but only 2 out of 5 of y'all, 2 out of 15 will do it. Get you an index card, one of those big index cards, the big ones. Big index card. And go ahead and type this up on a word processor, cut it out, and paste it on there. And I got you some more right here. I'm going to send them to you. I did it for you because, like I said, only 2 out of 15 will do it. But just like how many of you have done this? Our remaining 2 units, you're going to use a bunch of these, and I bet you haven't even done them yet. I'm going to send, I think I got it on a word processor sheet. I sent it out yesterday. You're welcome. And it should be, hold on, I got to move up to the top of the directory. There it is, sample space. And somebody give me a thumbs up. Hold on, I haven't sent it yet, it's loading. I'm going to send it right now. Give me a thumbs up when you see it. It's called sample space. Okay, I see somebody thumbs up. Okay, good. And that is basically, I'll show you what it is. pulls up in your file. This is a sample space of 3 children. This is a sample space of 4 children. And this is a sample space of what? 2 dice. A pair of dice. Now, why do you think I'm giving you these 5? Giving you these right here. And then I'm giving you these right here. Why do you think I'm giving you these 5 sample spaces? Why do you think I'm giving you these 5 sample spaces?
Because we're going to be using them.
On the
Test.
on the test. So for the 2 people that's going to print these out, you'll use them on the test. All right, so somebody tell me, just looking at this one, what is the probability of rolling a 10 on a pair of dice? Well, you take your handy dandy highlighter and you take a line and you find your 10s. Where is the 10s? Well, that'd be 5 and 5, wouldn't it? Well, there's a 5 and 5 right here. Do we have any other 5 and 5s? Got a 6 and 4. What else makes 10? 6 and 4 down here. Now, the good thing about this is you can also take your highlighter and just highlight the diagonal right here. So how many out of 36? 3 out of 36, which is equal to 1 over 12. And whatever decimal that is, that's what you would put on a test. You see why you need to print those out? Kind of helps you on a test. Unless, you want to be the other 11 or 12 students that doesn't print it out, and you have to kind of figure each one of those sample spaces each time you see it on the test. Okay?
I can't download the doc you sent.
Try it on another computer. Are you on your Chromebook?
Yes, sir.
Do you have another computer at home that's normal?
Yes, sir.
You pull it up on it.
Okay.
You're not going to be pulling up because they secure those things so much. You can't pull up a tissue paper on them things.
All right.
I mean,
thank you.
Yeah, just pull it up on a different computer. All right. And you can also, I don't know if you can do this or not. Let me try this. Upload. I also sent these, but I don't know if I can find them because I don't know why this computer does this. I'm talking to myself. Yeah. Let me see if I saved it in my clipboard. Function V. My clipboard is empty. I restarted my computer. You can go to the, I'll show you how to look them up for the 1 or 2 people that's going to do this. Go to Google. You can make your own word processing sheet. Sample space children. And hit images. And copy whatever images. Here's the one I picked. The other one I picked was down here, right there. Now, they don't have 2 children, but you might type in sample space for 2 children. That one's real easy to remember. But if you want to print it out to keep everything, you can go, well, I don't see it. Well, I guess they don't do 2 children because it's so simple. I don't see it anywhere, but you can do, I don't know why they don't do, there it is. There's two children right there. Girl, 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 boy, boy, girl, boy, boy. So you can save that, and then you can save 3 children, which is this one, and then 4 children, which is this one, and then do ample space for dice. And there's that one right there. And just copy image and put it on the word processor. Does that help you out any?
Yes,
Who
sir.
that?
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you can do that too. All right, let's go ahead and does anybody know who didn't make it to class today so I can change the roll? Anybody? I need the last names.
I think it was Abby Williams.
Williams? Is
Yes, sir.
that the only one that wasn't here today?
I think so.
Okay. Well, I know at one time we had 14, and then we lost 2 or 3 after the senior thing. So I almost just assume. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. The only reason I take roll is so these people won't send y'all emails that say you freaking not here and need to call your instructor and all this other bull crap. Hold on a second. I gotta confirm that I'm me. 167016. And shut off the recording. Now,